Jeremy Hunt blames Brexit for sparking a half-decade of instability. We're going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an article from The Guardian with the headline that Jeremy Hunt blames Brexit for sparking a half-decade of instability. The Chancellor said the vote led to incredibly challenging times as he defends tax cuts paid for by the public sector austerity. Just a little caveat here, obviously. This article is several days old, but I wanted to bring it back because I haven't really had a chance to really talk about this, because this is a Conservative Chancellor blaming Brexit for some of the difficulties that we have. And for a Chancellor to do that is quite... I think this has kind of been pushed under the radar, considering a lot of things that have been going on in news and politics over the last week. So I've had this in the backlogs for a while, and I kind of wanted to just say, and I wanted to bring this one up because I really do think it's quite important to highlight that the Chancellor here is blaming Brexit. It's good that he's blaming it, but he's still a CUNT, because of his time as Health Secretary and the way he's treating the economy, especially with his latest autumn statement. But I just find the comments extraordinary from him, and I guess it's a good thing, I suppose, that he's blaming Brexit, because this means that the media will not highlight, obviously, comments like this, but because of everything that's been going on. But I also think it's important to highlight that more and more people are talking about how the damage that Brexit is really coming on us. So Jeremy Hunt has blamed Brexit for more than half a decade of political instability that has undermined businesses' investment in the UK, as he sought to cut tax cuts paid by the public sector austerity to drive up economic growth. The Chancellor said the outcome of the 2016 EU referendum had led to the political chop and change before the COVID pandemic added to the turbulence at the heart of government. Asked at an event hosted by the Resolution Foundation think tank and the London School of Economics Centre for Economic Performances if he recognised that political instability had damaged business investment, Hunt said that there were very particular reasons why we had that. He said, quote, "We had Brexit. That led to a hung parliament that led to a political instability challenging time. The British people had voted to leave the EU, but Parliament couldn't agree how. And ultimately, we had the fall of Theresa May's government, and then we had the pandemic." So, he's saying there... Okay, so it's very important to make this distinction here, guys. I think that The Guardian is misleading a little bit here with the headline here. So he is, in a way, saying that Brexit has had an impact, but not specifically Brexit, as in leaving the EU, but the process of how we Brexited and how we left the EU, as I think is what he's saying there, as opposed to attacking or downplaying Brexit there. I think that's a very important distinction to make there of what he has said and what the Guardian's headline has said there. I think that's a very important distinction to make there. His comments come after researchers at the Institute for Public Policy Research think tank found more than a decade of flip-flopping through 9 business secretaries, 7 chancellors and 11 different economic strategies that had damaged business investment in the UK. Acknowledging that there had been changes in Whitehall triggered by Brexit, the Chancellor said Rishi Sunak's government has stabilised the economy after a meltdown triggered by Liz Truss's mini budget a year ago. He quote, "I hope that we can have more stability going forward, because absolutely that's a better thing for policy," Hunt said. The Chancellor was speaking at the launch of the Resolution Foundation and the CEP's Economic 2030 Inquiry Final Report, which says British workers were missing out on £10,700 a year after 15 years of relative decline on the world stage. Defending last month's autumn statement, Hunt argued that offering £20 billion of tax cut to workers and businesses could help boost economic growth by filling labour market vacancies and encouraging companies to invest. Challenged by his plans, including real terms cuts to public sector investment, the Chancellor said he was prioritising economic growth to raise tax income for the exchequer. These are tax cuts that stimulate growth, he said. I do believe in tax cuts. I am a conservative. I would like to reduce the size of the state as a proportion of GDP. The Institute for Physical Studies said that Hunt's autumn statement that his spending plans after the general election has set the country on a track for a more painful period of austerity during the decade of belt tightening under George Osborne. Austerity absolutely effing killed us. And he's preparing to do more. He said Hunt's statement measures have been effectively paid for by freezing income tax thresholds and bigger squeeze on real-term values of public service budgets and investment in national infrastructure. Hunt challenged Labour to meet its pledge to balance the government's finances through reducing the UK's national debt as a share of the economy. It is not possible to meet our fiscal rule to reduce debt in 5 years and to increase borrowing by £28 billion a year within 5 years. One of those things has to be false, he said. Speaking to a room packed with nation-leading economics and policymakers, including current and former officials from the Bank of England, Treasury and Office for Budget Responsibility, Hunt's comments came before Keir Starmer was due to tell the same event that Labour would not be turning on spending tax if it won the next election. Bolstered in the view of some senior Labour MPs that the party leader was prepared to sign up to austerity-style public sector cuts, Starmer said it was clear that the decisions the government are taking, not to mention the record over the past 13 years, will constrain what the future Labour government can do. Committing to ramping up investment in green infrastructure projects to £28 billion within 5 years' time, the Labour leader said he was confident that such an increase in funding could be achieved with the party's fiscal rules. Both sides need to spend more money when it comes to the physical of spending here. What are my honest thoughts? I feel like the Guardian here has kind of misled me and potentially misled you guys with that headline there. As he's saying that he blames Brexit, he's not directly blaming Brexit. If you looked at the quotations from it, I think that's really important to make that distinction there. That he's blaming the way we Brexited. I would say if that is because of the quotations that have been put there. So it's very important to point that out in those remarks there. So I think I would say just be careful when taking that headline there because it's not entirely true. From his point of view, obviously we know Brexit has caused. What I mean is obviously Brexit has caused half decades of instability. It's going to cause much instability, of course. But Jeremy Hunt is not blaming Brexit itself. He's blaming the process of Brexit as opposed to actually blaming Brexit. That's what he's doing here. Because if you ask him straight, do you blame Brexit for everything that's happened? He will not say that. He will say that the way that it was processed, it was done. So I think there's a very important distinction to make there, guys. That's really kind of the video really I wanted to discuss. I'm not so much about the economy because I'm not an expert on economy, as you guys know. But I think on that point, I think it's quite interesting, to say the least, that he said those comments. So what do you guys make of those comments? What do you guys actually make? I mean, he is right saying that Brexit has caused half decades of instability. But but do you agree with me that he's saying it because of the way we Brexited, or is he actually saying it because of Brexit? What do you guys honestly think on those comments? Let me know what you actually think down below, guys. Interested to hear what you guys actually think and what you think of my thoughts on that, because I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys think. Hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by buying me a coffee or joining me on Patreon. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.